He trusted his own blood, believed they were brothers forever. But then the truth came crashing down, hidden lies, secret meetings, and a brother he thought he knew turned out to be someone else entirely. I lost everything I thought mattered, but what I did next changed everything. Watch how it all unfolded. My name is Jason, and this is my story. Growing up, my brother Michael and I were inseparable. We shared everything from our dreams to our darkest fears. People always said we were more like twins than just siblings. We had each other's backs, no matter what. Or so I thought. Life had other plans. It started with small things, missed calls, vague excuses, late nights that didn't add up. Michael became distant, colder, and I chalked it up to stress. After all, everyone goes through rough patches, right? But then I noticed the texts, secretive, deleted before I could read them. I saw his phone light up with names I'd never heard. My gut screamed that something was wrong. One night I decided to follow him. What I uncovered shattered every illusion I had about my family, my brother, and my life. Michael was living a secret double life, one filled with lies, deception, and betrayals that cut deeper than I ever imagined. He wasn't the brother I thought I knew. He was a stranger wearing my family's face. In that moment, I felt like I was falling through the cracks of my own world. But this isn't a story about defeat. It's about what happens when you lose everything and find the strength to rise again. The night I followed Michael, my heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. I didn't know what I would find, but I knew I couldn't keep living in the dark. As I trailed him through the empty streets, my mind raced with questions. What was he hiding? Who was he meeting? And most importantly, why? He stopped at a nondescript building, glanced around nervously, then slipped inside. I waited outside, every second stretching like an eternity. When he finally emerged, it was with a woman I'd never met, someone who wasn't part of our family, not at all. That moment felt like a punch to the gut. It was the first of many secrets I'd uncover, each one unraveling the life I thought I had. Over the next few weeks, I pieced together a web of lies, hidden debts, business deals gone wrong, and worst of all, betrayals that cut through the heart of our family. Michael had been living a life I couldn't have imagined, one that threatened everything we'd built together. I felt betrayed, confused, and utterly alone. The brother I'd trusted with my life was leading a double life, and I was left picking up the pieces. But even in the darkest moments, I found a spark of something I hadn't expected, a fierce resolve not to let this destruction define me. I knew I had two choices: fall apart or fight back, and I chose to fight. The weight of betrayal pressed down on me, suffocating at times, but every breath I took reminded me that surrender was not an option. I began to meticulously gather every piece of evidence, every hidden transaction, every secret meeting, every lie, until I had a clear picture of the world Michael had been living behind my back. This wasn't just about family secrets anymore. It was about survival, about protecting what was mine and what I believed in. I couldn't trust Michael to do the right thing, so I had to take matters into my own hands. Days turned into sleepless nights as I planned my next move. I sought advice from lawyers, financial experts, and those who had faced similar betrayals. I realized that my fight wasn't just emotional, it had to be strategic. Confronting Michael was the hardest part. I remember the cold look in his eyes when I laid out everything I knew. There was no remorse, no apology, just defiance and denial. It was a painful awakening, a moment where I understood that the brother I loved was gone. But I didn't let his refusal to change stop me. I focused on rebuilding my life, piece by piece. I cut ties where I needed to and fortified the relationships that mattered. I surrounded myself with people who saw my worth, even when I doubted it myself. Throughout this journey, I discovered the true meaning of resilience. It wasn't about avoiding pain, but about moving forward despite it. There were moments of loneliness, of anger, and of deep sorrow, but also moments of clarity and strength. I learned to forgive, not for Michael's sake, but for my own peace. Forgiveness wasn't forgetting what happened. It was releasing the hold that betrayal had on me. My revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about reclaiming my identity and my future, and in doing so, I found a freedom I never thought possible. The deeper I went into this journey, the more I realized that healing was not a destination, it was a daily choice. Every morning, I had to decide to rise above the pain, to refuse to be defined by Michael's betrayal. There were days when the anger threatened to consume me, when the memories played like a relentless storm inside my mind. But I learned to sit with those feelings without letting them control me. I allowed myself to grieve the brother I thought I had, and the family I believed in. In that grief I found clarity. I began to see that my identity wasn't tied to Michael or the lies he told. It was mine, forged through every challenge, every heartbreak, every victory I claimed back for myself. I sought support from friends and counselors who helped me rebuild my trust, not just in others, but in myself. I learned to listen to my intuition again, to trust my own voice when it said, "This is not your fault." One of the hardest lessons was accepting that some people, even those we love, are not who we hoped they'd be. Accepting this truth was painful but freeing. It allowed me to stop chasing a relationship that was never real and to focus on the ones that truly mattered. Slowly, I rebuilt my life, not around Michael's mistakes, but around my dreams and values. I found new passions, rediscovered old ones, and surrounded myself with people who saw me for who I really was. Through it all, I learned the true meaning of strength. It's not about never being broken. It's about how you rise after the fall, how you reclaim your power, your dignity, and your peace. The journey hasn't been easy, but it has been worth every step. And the best part, I'm not just surviving anymore, I'm thriving. As the days turned into months, the weight of betrayal gradually lifted, replaced by a growing sense of purpose. I realized that my story wasn't just about loss, it was about transformation. I began channeling my energy into things that truly mattered, my career, my friendships, and my own personal growth. Every small victory, from finishing a tough project at work to reconnecting with an old friend, felt like a step toward reclaiming the life that Michael's secrets had tried to steal from me. One of the most healing parts of this journey was learning to forgive, not to forget or excuse what happened, but to free myself from the bitterness that could have consumed me. Forgiveness was my way of breaking free from the prison of anger and resentment. I also learned the power of boundaries, how setting limits is an act of self-love. I stopped allowing toxic relationships to drain my energy and instead invested in people who supported and uplifted me. Through this process, I discovered something profound. Revenge isn't always about retaliation. Sometimes, the greatest revenge is simply living your best life. I found joy in new experiences, in pursuing passions I had long neglected. I traveled, I took classes, I volunteered. Each new adventure was a reminder that I was reclaiming my story on my own terms. My relationship with Michael remains fractured, and perhaps it always will be. But I've made peace with that. I don't need his approval or presence to know my worth. The pain he caused was real, but it doesn't define me. If you're listening, caught in the web of betrayal and loss, know this. Your pain is valid, but it doesn't have to be permanent. You have the strength within you to rise, to heal, and to rebuild. Your future is not dictated by the lies of the past. It's yours to create, so take that first step. Fight for your peace. Live boldly, because the greatest revenge of all is the life you build after the storm. As I stand here now, looking back on everything I've endured, I want you to understand one thing clearly. Betrayal may shake your world, but it does not have to destroy your soul. I lost a brother I thought I knew, a bond I believed unbreakable. That loss cut deep, deeper than words can fully capture. But from that pain, I found an unexpected gift, the power to rise stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. My revenge wasn't about tearing someone down. It was about building myself up, brick by brick, day by day. I reclaimed my dignity, my peace, and my future. I rewrote my story from heartbreak to healing, from loss to limitless strength. And now I stand unbreakable. To anyone watching who feels broken by betrayal, hear me, your story isn't over. You are more than your pain, you are more than the lies told behind your back. You have within you a strength so fierce it can turn the darkest night into a dawn of new beginnings. Hold on to that strength, let it guide you through the storm, because your greatest revenge, your true power, lies not in what you do to others, but in how you rise above it all. Thank you for listening to my story. If it has moved you, inspired you, or given you hope, share it. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is remind someone else they're not alone. Your future is waiting, and it's brighter than you know. Thank you for staying with me through this journey, through the pain, the betrayal, and the fight to reclaim my life. Sharing this story wasn't easy, but I believe that honesty and vulnerability are powerful tools for healing, not just for me, but for anyone facing similar battles. Remember, betrayal can feel like the end of the world, but it can also be the beginning of your greatest transformation. You are not alone in your pain, and you are stronger than you realize. If this story resonated with you, please consider sharing it. Your support might be the light someone else needs to find their own path to healing. Stay strong, keep rising, and never forget, the power to rewrite your story lies within you. Until next time, take care of yourself and those you love. This is Jason signing off.